Greetings, everybody. Hope you guys can hear me. Um, yes, I wanted to share this channel message that came to me last night that I wrote down. Um, so if you guys could just bear with me real quick. This is kind of hard for me to do because I'm like wrestling really hard with spirit. Like, do you really want me to say this? Because some people get in their feelings, and I know that spirit's working on me with vulnerability and stuff like that. So when I channeled this message, I was like, no, like if somebody does me grimy, or I feel like someone is getting away with stuff, I'm not about to, I felt it made me feel like I was compromising myself. But I feel like this message needs to come out, and it may resonate with someone. It's all about humbling self and stuff like that. um so I'm gonna share. It came to me, and I got out my phone, the little, how phones have the little notepads or whatever. So it was coming to me. I was in between states. I was in between sleep and wake, and this message was just like flooding to me, like I was having a whole conversation. So spirit was like, write it down, and I was writing it as it was coming through. Um, so I felt like it wasn't just for me in some type of instance. This is for the collective that resonate with this. So I don't do these types of readings or messages or channelings only if I'm guided or led to. I know the whole twin flame stuff. I don't get into labels and titles, but just for the sake of divine counterparts and divine connections, I know that they are powerful. I know that if you get outside of the whole fairy tale romantic side that we've been programmed to believe, when it comes to these types of divine connections, when we get outside of that and we really get into the root of inner work, shadow work, healing, really mastering what it means to be in an unconditional loving energy, outside of this whole romantic fairy tale stuff, um, it's much more relevant than people think. I feel like some people could write it off as like, okay, this stuff is irrelevant. Nobody wants to hear about how somebody feels about someone all the time and where this connection is. But sometimes you need to know that. And on top of that, if this is a true divine connection, there is a higher purpose to these connections on a spiritual level that are very relevant to the shift, divine shifts. So spirit uses different things and is using different things, assignments and purposes to bring shifts. And also, using different life experiences to help us grow within ourselves and evolve. And for some people it is a divine connection. For some people it is relationships and partnerships that does this. So you know I stopped feeling bad and guilty for delivering messages about love and stuff like that, because it can seem like, okay, well, can we talk about more important things like job and career, or health, or what's going on in the world. And spirit will give me messages that I'm meant to deliver when it calls for that. I've done a lot of readings, um, just random stuff that just channels through me about um, worldly things, like stuff that's happening in the world. And um, one of my supporters, she DM'd me a couple months ago, and she said that I predicted this whole shutdown and everything, and I don't remember. I remember I did say some things about some type of major shift going to happen, but I don't really remember, but it was in one of my lives that I did. She called that to my attention. So it just depends on what spirit uses me for. And because I am in a divine connection energy, that's what my part of my purpose is involved in, that not just for you guys, but also my own personal experience and my own personal journey. So of course that's what I'm majority of what I'm channeling and helping people with. It is what it is. So anyway, not to talk y'all ears off too much. So this message is in regards to um, unconditional love and divine feminine towards divine masculine, loving them beyond their shadows. The first thing, and I guess when I was in that state, I was in between, like, when you're sleeping, you're not sleeping, you're not asleep, but you're like just about to go to sleep, but you're still up, but you're kind of like in and out. I was in that state. And that's where I have most of my conversations with spirit, where I have most of my conversations, like spiritual communication. And when I get my channelings too, is when I'm in that in between state. Um, I'm more receptive to those messages. And it was like I have conversations with um, my divine counterpart's higher self. It's an energy. It's not like a specific, like, you know what I mean? Like, some people might put a face to their divine masculine or divine feminine, but when I'm in that state, like, I could tell, I could feel the energy through it. I can filter through it, but it's like a higher energy. It's a spirit. It's an essence. So I was talking to the essence of my divine masculine energy. And this, I don't know, I guess my heart was pouring out or whatever. And I was like, if I can love you through your shadow, I could love you through your divinity, through who you are and your divine essence. So all this message was like a whole dialogue that came out, and I heard, how could you still love me after I've done, such and such? So your divine masculine energy, or you could be a divine masculine yourself, saying, how could anybody, not just divine feminine, how could you love me after what I've done, or the things that I've done in the past, whether that be to you or to others, or just certain things that they might not feel so proud of. In divine feminine, I wrote, I may have saw your mask and fell for them, but I seen beyond it. So I feel feminine energy, you saw the facades, or you seen the shadow. It wasn't apparent, it wasn't completely clear. And that could be part of just only wanting to see the divinity in a person, because the thing is, if they're divine masculine, they do have that divine light within them, but they could have been operating off of their ego, but you weren't able to see it, or whether they were hiding it from you. um it says, I saw your divinity before you. So you were able to see them in a light that they were not able to see themselves at the time. And that happens a lot. A lot of people, divine feminines are usually unconditionally loving. They're very empathic. You want to believe in the best. You want to see the best in everyone. And a lot of times you might have the ability to see people's calling, or you have the ability to see people's gifts and potential sometimes. And you got to be careful with that, because of course you don't want to fall for potential. But I feel like if this is your true divine counterpart, you're able to see what their calling is, what their purpose is, what their gifts are, and maybe even what your assignment is together. So that's part of it. Um, it says, even after the mask fell, I still loved you, and I knew the true you the whole time, even if you didn't see it. So, yeah, again, like, even after I saw the shadows, I still seen that in you. As much as I resented you and tried to reject my love for you, I couldn't deny it. What we felt was real. I even beat myself up for not acknowledging the shadows. I was blinded by the essence of our connection. There were times I felt something wasn't right, but I believed in you. So you guys had that inkling and that knowing that, like, something is not all of what it seems, something's off. But it was like, because you were in the essence of the connection and the purity of it, and the love that you felt was pure, and the exchange itself, it was easy for you to overlook certain things within them. It says, the tower hit me when your shadow was revealed to me. I ran in pain and in anger, but I realized it highlighted my shadows as well. Okay, so that part. So you guys could have had a tower moment where something was like, you realized something, you found something out, or you just got tired of like the way things were going, like some type of epiphany. And I feel like that worked for your highest good, and I feel like it's going to work for the masculine's highest good. I might do a channeling if spirit calls me to it for the divine masculine side of all of this, but just right now we're tapping into divine feminine's energy. But I feel like there was something that was revealed to you. Um, could have just been like an epiphany, like I said, like something came over you, like, why am I doing this? And for some of you, it's like, this person, they won't grow up, or they just won't step up to the plate, or you guys found out that they were messing around with other people, or you found out that maybe there was another woman or man involved. For some of you, your divine masculine could be man or woman. You guys found out about another person. Um, you guys also could have something just hit you where you went back in time and you were like, okay, that was something that I just ignored. I completely denied it. Whatever happened, I feel like you guys were upset, not only with them, but you could have been upset with yourself at the time. It was a lot of pain, it was a lot of anger, a lot of frustration. You may have denounced this connection like this wasn't real, this was fake, or I'm not doing this, I deserve somebody better, or maybe this person isn't the one. Like all of this stuff came up, and some of you guys may have also went back to someone from your past. This is not everybody, but some of you guys could have decided to do that, or you guys maybe like have entertained somebody else or something like that. But that's not going to be for everybody. The part where it says, but I realized it highlighted my shadows as well. So it could have, when a tower moment happens, it's usually to dismantle something that is not of sturdy ground. So for some of you, this could have put you in a position where you surrendered. It could have put you in a position where you guys stood in your power. It could have put you in a position where you guys implemented proper boundaries with this connection, because just because this person is your divine counterpart doesn't mean that they don't operate in their ego, and vice versa. So there may be times where you're a little more lenient with each other, or you've been lenient towards your divine masculine and you've allowed certain things to just happen. So it may have um, caused you to set certain boundaries that need to be set in the first place and honor yourself. For others of you, like I said, it could have highlighted shadows of maybe your own insecurities came up. Like it may have highlighted a fear that you needed to address or face within yourself. Could be the need to control things. It could be to help further you with your healing process. So it worked for the benefit of you. It so the part it says it ended up being the best thing for me. It pulled me closer into my divinity. I see myself as even more precious. So again, it brought you closer to your divinity and closer to yourself. So that's the thing about any type of divine connections, not just romantic ones, but like friends and, your soul tribe. What happens is these connections are meant to bring you closer to yourself, the greatest version of yourself, and that bring you closer to your creator, to the divine. Okay, that's what a divine connection is. A connection that's toxic for you or not divine in itself, it will pull you away from yourself to where you're darker in energy than you are lighter in energy, or you turn away from a connection with spirit. Like it drags you down, it brings you in a low place. That's how you know it's karmic or it's a dark energy. It doesn't uplift you, it doesn't enlighten you, doesn't motivate you, doesn't inspire you, doesn't open your heart. It's a different type of energy that you get. Your divine counterpart will love you in the way the divine loves you, but again, we do have flaws and we do have faults. I will say again, your divine counterpart is not somebody that is going to treat you how, let's say, quote unquote, the devil or the enemy, whatever you want to call it, or dark forces would treat you. They're not going to call you out your name, like, pretty much, because we get upset with people. It's a point where we get mad. We're like, oh, fuck this person. I'm not dealing with this. They're stupid, such and such. But, like, to outright be like, you ain't never going to be shit. You're this, you're that. Like, to bring you down constantly, to abuse you in so many different ways, because people have it so confused. And I find it funny, like, this is how you know that you're dealing with a narcissistic person, because a lot of people think that the trials that they're having with a narcissist is a divine connection, because with divine connections you go through those triggers and trials, but it's not the same. It's more like they trigger you without doing it. They're not purposely hurting you and triggering you. With a narcissistic person, they actively and purposely trigger you. They purposely do things to hurt you. So I've had experiences where I dealt with a lot of gaslighting and stuff like that, and crying to get my attention. But whenever I didn't do what they wanted me to do, I was a bitch, or I was this, I was that, I was crazy, I was stupid. I've had people that, random weird ass strangers and stuff like that, claim that You know, they feel like we have a connection and we're twin flames, but if when I don't bend to their will, I'm a bitch, I'm this, I'm that, all kind of devils and all kind of shit like that. So you could tell the difference. It's not the same, because if it's a divine connection, it has the light of the Most High in that connection. So yes, you get mad at your parents, you get mad at your siblings, your friends, you're gonna get mad at your partner, but it's not an energy where you're just like, fuck them, I owe such and such. And I don't mean to be so vulgar, but it is what it is. It's a completely different energy. So the message here is, judge not, and that you be not judged. So what that means is, just as your person has some type of faults, quote unquote faults, and deals with the ego, so do you. And I feel like it was highlighting things, and I bet $1 million that whatever transpired and hit you also hit your masculine in some type of way. And I feel like, you know, it's kind of like putting up a mirror towards each other, and that's usually what these connections do. um, Love one another as I have loved you, you know, as it says in the Bible. You know, so your creator, that divine essence that is of unconditional love, wants you to love each other as divine creators loved you. And that does not mean that you put up with bullshit. It does not mean that you just stand in and sit in it because this person is quote unquote your divine counterpart or your twin flame soulmate, whatever people cling to nowadays. It's not that. It's because you can love a person unconditionally, but have boundaries set for yourself. You got to love yourself and see yourself in the eyes of how your divine creator sees you. Okay? Anybody that does not love you and appreciate you may not be for you, or if they're not able to fully embrace you and accept you as you are, it's it's showing you to totally love and embrace yourself as you are for you. Like, you give yourself that. And also to grow a tighter connection with Source and your spiritual team that does love you unconditionally. Because when this journey, sometimes when your person is seemingly not loving you or giving you what you want, or you feel like they should do this or they should do that, or the one person that you adore and love so much is seemingly just say, like, it looks like they don't care. And it may not be that it's not that they don't care, or it could just be, you know, other things. But let's just put it into your perspective, like, it feels like they don't care. So it hurts with that, what one person that you love so much, has a lot of love for unconditionally, and you feel like that's not reciprocated. It pushes you to see that you're not alone, and that your creator loves you unconditionally. Your ancestors, your spiritual team that really have your best interests at heart, love you unconditionally. You have people in your life that love you unconditionally. And if you feel like you don't, you feel like you have toxic friends or family, or you feel like you don't have no friends, or whatever the case may be, at the end of the day, that essence that created you, that brought you here, loves you unconditionally. And it's up to you to tap into that energy. And that's what Spirit wants you to know, them first. You got to know who your divine creator is first. Why your divine creator called you to this existence, is playing how they see you, how they love you, so that you don't settle for anything less than that. And yes, as humans, we're going to have faults. But a person, it's a difference between a person that loves you and has faults versus a person that actively doesn't give a shit about you and they abuse it and take it for granted. You got to know the difference. And it's very easy to tell when you get familiar with your divine creator's love for you. It's very different. These people will handle you with care. They will not actively seek out to hurt you. They're not um, they're not there, like I said, to bring you down and to hurt you and harm you in any type of way. It's not that type of energy. So it's very different. Okay. I hope that resonated with someone or helped somebody. If Spirit calls me, like I said, to tap into the divine masculine side of it, I'll do that. Because I didn't pull cards to get this channel message. It came to me in my state. So I don't always have to pull cards to get a message. A lot of times, Spirit will give me messages. I'll channel some stuff. If it's meant for me to share, I will. But if not, it's just something, you know, I keep to myself, that I journal or record or whatever. So hopefully, like I said, this blessed someone. Much love as always, okay? Until the next message or reading, take care. Peace.